hearing other people's thoughts and knowing things that people don't usually know, it makes it more difficult. And I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Welcome to the Orykl Podcast, where spirituality, inspiration, and education come together. We have 3 playlists. In Spiritual Stories, we explore profound moments in personal spiritual journeys. In Spiritual Entrepreneurship, we share insights to help spiritual practitioners and their businesses thrive. And in Spiritual Leadership, I offer my perspective on leading with authenticity and heart. Welcome to the Orykl Podcast. Today we have Sandra Akkermans with us. She's one of Orykl's vetted practitioners, and I'm very happy to be with her and actually get to know a little bit more about her story myself. So welcome, Sandra.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for this opportunity.
It is awesome to have you. I am really excited about hearing more. And I'm quickly going to read your bio on our website so people that don't know you just get to know you a little better. So Sandra is a highly skilled QHHT practitioner specializing in guiding clients through deep transformative healing sessions. Her approach helps individuals access their subconscious minds to gain insights into past lives, release trauma, and heal emotional and physical issues. Sandra's compassionate and intuitive nature allows her to create a safe, supportive environment for clients to explore their inner worlds and unlock their soul's wisdom. Trained in the Dolores Cannon method, she uses QHHT to help people connect with their higher selves and receive guidance from the spiritual realms. Whether clients are seeking answers to life's challenges, healing from deep-rooted trauma, or gaining clarity on their soul's journey, Sandra provides a gentle and profound path to transformation. Sounds great. so, so happy to have you. And yeah, I love what you do. We know each other a little bit more than I guess most people watching this, but why don't we start by you telling us a little bit about you today? Who is Sandra Akkermans today?
Yes, thank you. The bio was great. And it's just one part of the stuff I use in my work. I work with all kinds of people on intuitive levels. So the skills that I use are, of course, of the modalities that I have been taught. But also, what makes it more deeper and interesting is also my psychic skills, my intuitive skills that I mix. So when I work with people, I use my own guidance and the voice within, voice of my higher self, of my guides, to really get on point with the sessions that I do.
Yeah, I love it. And every practitioner brings their own unique gifts to the session. So I can honestly say that no session is the same from one practitioner to the next. So it's really interesting. And I love to explore different practitioners because of that. Obviously, with the same sort of basis, right? Coming from a place of love and allowing the person to do the healing themselves while we hold that space.
Yes.
Let's start at the beginning of your life's journey here in this life. Can you take us a little bit through your childhood? What was that like? I know you're from the Netherlands. And also, perhaps, if you felt that something was a little bit different to the societal norms while you were a child, or if you felt any psychic gifts, or if you knew that something was a little different, or if you noticed things, because I know a lot of people have that experience, but not all. And then, yeah, up until, say, your teenage years, I would love to hear that story.
Oh, thank you. Yes. I think that everybody can relate to the moment in your childhood you don't feel different because you don't have any other reference. It's just you experiencing the world and everything around you. What made it difficult for me is that I feel that the talent of listening to other people's thoughts, so knowing what other people think, and this spills over in my thinking and making a discernment of what is other people's thinking, what is my thinking. And as a child, hearing other people's thoughts and knowing things that people don't usually know, it makes it more difficult. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. The level of difficulty makes it that you feel insecure because people obviously feel a certain way, but they don't express it. That's what we humans do. We have a voice and we just use the one that makes other people feel pleasant, but inside we don't feel that much. So this was very difficult. And I just discovered this later in life that this was my thing.
Yeah. Because you were an empath, and I hear this over and over as well, that it can be quite challenging.
Yeah.
I think family has a big role to play there, because depending on the environment that you grew up in, this is welcomed or this is very much shut down. And I think for a lot of people, it was shut down as kids. And so it's a struggle, right? Because you are feeling and sensing things, and you also don't have anybody to talk to. And so you have to deal with the whole thing on your own. It can be quite hard. But it's so great that more and more empaths are kind of coming out now and embracing those talents, really, because it's hard on the one side and it's really incredible on the other. And okay, so take us then through, up until the moment where you realized that this is an avenue that you wanted to pursue in the spiritual arena.
It was a very significant moment for me because also with feeling other energies and other presences in the room, it made me feel very anxious as a child, very afraid, especially of the dark and being alone in some places. So at one moment, I decided I don't want to be scared anymore. I think one sentence did the trick. It was like, knowledge is power. And I think, okay, I want power. I don't want to feel helpless anymore. I give me power. So I think, yeah, let me search for that knowledge about what is it, what I'm experiencing, seeing. Let me get somebody around me that knows what I feel. So I think in my age group, I'm now 43. I don't think it was very common to have a lot of spiritual people at that moment. Well, not in my circles, not in my childhood. So I had one person, and I was clinging onto that person as much as I could because it was just a professional, and she was selling crystals. So it wasn't, yeah, it was the only spiritual person in my neighborhood. So I kind of cling to that. So I learned about being a medium. I learned about entities and how to react and how to respond, and that it's not very scary. And then I stopped having the fears, and then I could really work with it.
Oh my gosh. It's so interesting that you said when you stop the fears, then you could work with it.
Yes.
I interviewed somebody recently who pretty much said the same thing. So what were their fears and how did you overcome those fears?
Yeah. I think it was also a very silly one. If I think about it right now, maybe some people can relate. When it was dark, going up to my bed and then being afraid that there's something underneath my bed. So I was jumping from far, if it was dark, from far into my bed, or always making sure that somebody was there. And this was also in my adulthood, but really getting to know what happened when I was little, what was under my bed or supposed to be under my bed, or I think learning about that made it all very special. And then when you are in a state of anxiety and fear, it's a very low frequency. So you also attract a lot of things that are in that same frequency. So when you elevate from that, you rise from that frequency, you get to see also the pretty things, not also the very scary and nasty things. So seeing also the pretty things and yeah, being able to help people with that, that really made a difference.
Mm. I love how you explain that. That's exactly how it works in terms of the things that we experience, right? But sometimes people go, well, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Am I creating it or am I experiencing? And
Yeah.
so baby steps, right? Baby steps going up. So then through this lady, you started learning different modalities. I guess you were pretty good at these things because you were already doing it, right? You just kind of channeled it the right way. And how long did it take you for you to start working with people? Or did you realize that this is what you wanted to do? Then at some point you were like, okay, I want to use my gifts to work with it to help other people. Like, how was that sort of transition?
once you discover that it's not that scary and it's actually quite cool and really special, I realized that I wanted to work with that. But then another challenge, and I think a lot of light workers can relate to that as well. When people discover that you have this gift or that they can use it to their advantage, you get a lot of requests. Oh, can you please look at this? Oh, what do you feel with me? What do you see with here? And all these requests, it really made me very sad and empty because most of the time people just don't realize checking somebody's energy or looking for dead people or just checking what is there. It costs me something. I really have to dive into it because when you have this gift, you also learn how to manage it and not to do it all the time. So you have an on and off switch. So when you get the question, do you want to check what do you feel with me? What do you feel with me? You have to flip that switch on. But that costs energy. It costs me something. Or sometimes when I need to read somebody, I go through their energy and something also sticks to me and I have to find my way back to myself again. So it's fine and I really want to do it because I it's my passion, but it cost me something as well. So I really had to learn about my boundaries and for some people just saying no because I got all kinds of silly questions like, "Oh, when do you think I'm going to marry?" or "When am I going to get my baby?" or "When will I move?" And I'm kind of also like, "Yeah, I don't know when you will move, but maybe you should look at the housing first. Maybe you should maybe put your house
Yeah.
up for sale or something."
Yeah.
So
I find it very interesting that so many people do ask those questions. When am I going to get married? When am I going to find the love of my life? When am I going to have a baby? Wouldn't it be so much better if somebody empowered themselves and said, how can I find the love of my life?
yeah,
Because there's a way, and it's obviously we know it starts inside, right? It's that inner work. And it's really what you answer when you do these readings. I know. So I know you channel, you do mediumship and, sort of spiritual counseling. That's what you're teaching them and empowering them to do it themselves because we can give our power away forever and ever and ever and ever. But until we realize, oh gosh, okay, it really is up to me.
yes,
So I really appreciate that you mentioned some of the struggles with, especially as you get into it and you say you're feeling away, people are asking you, it's all new, right? I hear this from other people that are getting into it and how do you set up your boundaries? But I love it how you explained it so beautifully about that it costs you something. And it's
yeah,
not necessarily to say that you're always going to be energetically, drained because it's not necessarily that, but at that moment you can't, it's costing you something. I think we all struggle in this line of work to also we feel guilty somehow that we're charging somebody. But I don't feel guilty and I think it's good. And I think that there's so much value here. And I think sometimes when we pay for something, we see the value, we take it more seriously and we do the work.
yes.
Because there's a lot of also free stuff everywhere. And as people are not walking the talk, sometimes, it takes a bit of a chuk chuk and nudge. So anyway, tell us then so you managed somehow to set up those limits, right? What happened then?
Well, first I just stopped it in totality, so I was kind of trying to balance it all, but also it's exactly what you said about value, about valuing yourself and also having people asking the right questions. So I just first started my full-time spiritual business with the QHHT sessions. This was really nice because I could really help people to get the answers for themselves. So I didn't have to get the answers for them because they were channeling their higher self and they would get those answers themselves. So I really loved that. But then my passion for the readings and everything, it just really it came and I really feel so good when I do it. So I decided to start with multidimensional or galactic readings to not have the questions about the babies and the houses. So that was really awesome because there's so much information about galactic and cosmic origins and everything. And that really made my passion go through the roof. And with that, I also drew in a lot of people who are more conscious of themselves. They really feel that they want to do something, they want answers that they can work with. It's not like I am a fortune teller in a carnival. It's more you want to help people to really reach something, to really get this transformation going inside themselves. So that kind of also added to that I am very good at seeing thoughts, following thoughts also in subconscious. So I can dig into people's subconscious. What thoughts are there? What do they feel? What do the people around them think? What do they think about people around them? So this really is a large extension of using the full capacity of my gifts. So
Mm.
this was the whole evolution, I think.
How do you think you empower people?
Especially by the information that I get a lot of information about also this lifetime. It can also transfer to other lifetimes, but I really like to translate the multidimensional information or the information about the traumas to everyday solutions. So if you know this about yourself and you know that this is the thing, a lot of people are working with the lack of emotional safety. So, what can you do to feel emotionally safe? What can you do to empower yourself? So, really getting hands on tips during the readings, during the QHHT sessions, to not be in a victim mode, but just really have hands on tips. So, I really like to travel throughout the whole galaxy and everything. But here is the party right now. So, we need to work with how you can incorporate all this information in and now. So, I hope a lot of people get empowered by that.
I completely agree, and I love that. Okay, so if you could make people know something about themselves magically, and they all of a sudden knew it about themselves, what would that be?
I think that a lot of people should realize that, of course, we are human. We are human at this moment right now, but there is so much more to that. So the whole making yourself small, I'm just a human, I'm just here, I'm just doing this, making yourself feel so unimportant. This is the one thing that I hope that everybody discovers how big they are, how much of a difference they make, even though they make in their eyes small steps to really see how big they are. This is the one most empowering thing that everybody needs to discover about themselves.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. All right. Well, Sandra, we've got to wrap it up. Thank you so much. I've really loved chatting with you. And I hope many people resonate with your energy. I certainly do. And thank you for doing the work that you do and for helping so many people and really living your purpose, which took courage, but you embraced it well.
Thank you. And thank you so much for this opportunity and for everything that you offer. You're really a blessing. And I really loved our talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.